their top laner, lock in the ADC if you were going to think Kaisar, because they've already got Jinx, they can't counter you. I don't know. Is it a bit like an oversight? It seems like a little bit of a weird order to pick in, because now they got the Tryndamere. It's a situation where V3 have to win this game early. You know, they cannot go late game with this team.
Yeah, and I think the moment you gave up that Jinx is already going to be a bit of an issue as well regarding that skill, and the Corki able to match the Rise, just really rough here. And J-Real, I mean, we said it before already, you know, standings are mostly locked in. V3 is going to be 8th place regardless what happens. What they're playing for is pride in that first win, and maybe these are just comfort picks for them. Nar is Washide's most played champion here. I certainly hope so, because I want to see a V3 win. I don't want to see them end 0-21, and even better yet, like you said, you know, if they pull out a win and upset over either Roscoe Jesters or Sengoku, they get to screw the entire standings and decide who goes to the Juggernaut match.
No, I agree. Look, I'm on the V3 hoping. You know, every time I've been on the broadcast recently, I've been hyping up V3. I want V3 to get the win. I want them to take a game off someone, and I feel like what a better time to do it than now or the next game day. You know, Roscoe Jesters or Sengoku both trying to take the second place. A loss to V3 would be absolutely massive, and maybe it's the way to do it. You know, maybe we could flip the side. Maybe we could be like, look, Sengoku have such a good late game, such a good team fighting comp. Maybe V3 are going to strike early and take the game away. Admittedly, that's what I want to see. What I did see in the past is that wasn't the case, as we are going to see a tail going for an aggressive trade early, but the damage not going to be too substantial.
Yeah, and I mean, even right off the bat, Kaisa can out-trade the Jinx in those early levels, so I like the attempt at aggression, but you're seeing that it's not really working out too well. NT already able to trade back with Honey, and they're winning that particular trade already. So this Kaisa Rakan is going to take some time to come online. Junglers both starting top side as well. It's worth noting Hecarim has a faster clear. So I'd like to see Unica, you know, go for a little bit of unusual pathing, try and cheese a gank somewhere before teams are ready. Sengoku has dropped a ward already, though, in the river, expecting that they might get punished for their aggression.
Am I seeing this right? Is Blitzcrank predicting V3 61% to win this game?
It looks like, yeah, at the 20-minute mark, they even spiked to, what is that, 80% at the 20-minute mark. Yes, Blitzcrank. AIs, man. This is why Blitzcrank is no longer meta.
Yeah, damn, Blitzcrank really throwing out hooks left and right with that one. That was, okay, well, Blitzcrank, I believe in the hopium. Let's go. Blitzcrank set the tone for the game. V3, 60%, 61% chance potentially to win this game. We'll see if that becomes a likelihood as NT going for a deep ward there. I like that, but Jarvan already done the blue, already on the Gromp, so it is a little bit harder to track where they've been.
Yeah, and you know what, for Blitzcrank, I think he's literally just looking at the sort of the way the comp's going to operate, and when you have a wombo combo composition, 20 minutes is that spike generally, when you get that second level in your ultimates, and they're all looking to all in win those objective fights. So maybe that works out, we'll have to see. And regarding that deep ward as well, I do think it is enough to get a good idea of where Unica is, and that's giving them the confidence to play aggressive, because as far as they're aware, Unica shouldn't be bot side. Now, seeing that scuttle as well, they know exactly where J4 is.
And Jet could have been in trouble, but isn't going to be. TP taking a long time to get Yu-Gi-Oh back, and Unica not looking to go for the 1v1. Admittedly, pretty low mana on the Corki there, so I'm surprised that they didn't try and trade something, maybe look to get some sort of summoner, or at least just the HP, but isn't going to go for it. Going to go for the top side Skull. We'll get level 4 now, potentially looking for a gank on pads, but they do have to be careful as once is lurking.
Wow, okay, Unica just double scuttled once, and once has the Hecarim, which is that power farming jungler here. I mean, partially Unica did skip Krugs to get that little bit of a boost, but I think once also just stuck around too long bot side, right? You knew where Unica was, you could have just moved away right away, and now they're coming for Yu-Gi-Oh!
And okay, didn't use the charge straight away, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Going to take a lot of damage there once, getting them pretty low. Is going to force them to go back to base potentially, and they've already used that TP, so that is not a good situation for Yu-Gi-Oh! To be in.
Yeah, and you could kind of see that Jet was taken a little bit aback by that gank as well. They did not look quite coordinated there. I think they could have killed if they were together. Bot side, though?
NC going very aggressive there with the Abyss of Voyage. I'm not really sure what they were aiming for there. It seemed like they were maybe trying to gank a cannon minion or something, but either way, it's going to be traded back pretty nicely by Dresscode and Headtail, but it's Tam Kench, still very tanky. It's not going to be an easy kill early on.
And again, J-Real, it just feels discoordinated, right? NT's going in, Honey's still farming. It's like, where's the communication here? A little bit worrying if you're a fan of Sengoku. Not saying that they're going to lose, but hey, V3, now's your chance. Now's your opportunity, right? If Sengoku are playing a little bit disconnected, it's time to hop that copium.
No, 100%. It's exactly what you want to see. Like Sengoku making these weird missteps. Maybe one leads to an early lead, and then, as we said, Blitzcrank predicted it. Up to that 25-minute mark, it's potentially going to be a win for V3. And we have to look at the previous games, right? They've played twice so far. An average of 25 minutes is between the two games, and it's actually 24 seconds between the two sides. So I think it was like 24-48 in the first one, and then 25-12 in the second. So 25 minutes is where this game is expected to end.
So, Jeru, what you're telling me is that if the game goes past 25 minutes, V3 have a non-zero chance at winning this. Is that what you're saying?
I feel like if the game goes later than 25, V3 are not winning this game. Yeah, that is well, just on comp alone. Like, come on, it's Tryndamere, Corki, Jinx. Like, they scale so crazily good. And yes, Kaisar can get strong. Yes, so can Rise. Gnar can even be a bit of a problem. But when we're looking at kind of like the ranking of who is good late game, you don't really get much better than Jinx, Tryndamere.
That's fair. I mean, even with the Rise, it's going to be a little bit tough. And unfortunately for V3, the early game has only been kind of even, and that's in the lanes. Once getting that first dragon, that's what we like to see, that macro control coming through from Sengoku. And topside, Paz was losing this lane. He's down CS, but it feels like he's now hit level 6 and he's gone, okay, I'm ready to start fighting here, Washide. Can you match me? And the answer, at least in mini form, seems to be no.
Tryndamere has become a champion. Level 6 becomes even more problematic. I feel like so far it's going well for V3. They're not losing majorly. They're not getting crushed or anything, which is great to see. But they are going to need to pick up the pace. You know, as we do edge closer and closer to that 15-minute mark, you need to see V3 starting being proactive. The early game, they've kind of got through that, no problems. They've been a little bit more proactive. I do feel like Unica's really had a good setup, at least on the start. But we need to see them start converting it into more tower plates, kills. That's what needs to go down.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Unica to kick action off for the side of V3 here. Hold up one second. Okay, is that a visual bug? Once recalled on a control ward and did not clear it on the bot side. It's still showing on the minimap. I am very confused why that happened there. But yes, Unica, go top.
He is going to be going top indeed as well. Should I able to get a pretty decent trade onto Paz, and just the range of the knot obviously always going to be a little bit of a problem. And Unica getting ahead of once is not something I was expecting in this matchup, especially not the Jarvan versus the Hecarim matchup as well. So yeah, so far it's going well for V3. They're also putting down pretty good vision as well. Obviously we can see a lot of deep walls. They deep walled their own jungle as well. So they are catching once out quite a bit.
Yeah, and Unica even counter jungled and took away that blue buff as well. Washidai in mega form, but this is dangerous. There's 4 members of Sengoku all around him here. There
are indeed, and they've started up this Herald. We had a stat from everyone, so mostly the team that starts the Herald gets the Herald. We'll see if V3 can turn that one around today. As right now they are looking for this one. Unica might try and go in for the Smite steal, and they're getting close with the trap to there, and he gets the steal once, I think, smited really early there. Yeah. And Sengoku are looking a little bit frazzled. I don't really know why they've come into this looking so, like, not connected.
Yeah, I mean, that was 1,250 when one smited there, and I'm just flabbergasted that happened. He wasn't low on health, wasn't smited for health there, and the only thing I can think of is maybe he's not in the right place. Like maybe he's playing from somewhere with really high ping.
Yeah, it's it's a little bit question mark for me. I feel like that play was a little bit strange. You know, they were there early. They then backed away off the Herald, but then didn't fully back away. They kept doing it. I don't know. Sengoku giving off weird vibes today. We'll see maybe if V3 can turn this one around, or maybe Sengoku are going to start to, ease into the game. They're going to start warming up. Maybe they're just doing a cold-blooded routine where they're feeling a little bit cold at the moment. They're not heating up, but as the sun beams, as the day gets a little bit longer, maybe they're going to start running through this team.
Yeah, and you know what, for Sengoku, if there's ever a team for you to kind of play fast and loose with, it is probably V3 here, right? Like you can make these mistakes and you're not out of the game yet. Yes, you did give over Herald, but you still have the dragon stacking working in your favor. And you know what, V3, this is an opportunity. What can you
Ooh.
find with it? Forcing the flash out of Venti, that's a good start. Hey, maybe you go down bot side with that Herald now and look for a dive.
Indeed, and we've already seen Jinx pick up a couple of plates, so giving a few to dress code would be pretty nice, but obviously, if we are looking at Yu-Gi-Oh as well, getting that rise ahead, always a big benefit too, and V3 maybe have overstated a little bit here, trying to put some deep vision into the jungle, but now are being collapsed on by 3 members, but able to walk away for now, and they should be all safe.
Yeah, they should be okay. There no collapse from behind here, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Level 9 does have the Realm Warp here. I'm curious to see if they're going to try and brute force this. Doesn't look like it. They've actually backed out completely. And V3, Jerry, we're looking at them to make action happen, and they just kind of are sitting back here. That's not ideal for them. If we look at the lanes, I mean, topside was favoring them initially. That's no longer the case. Jungle, yeah, was favoring them initially too, but it's kind of even right now. Yes, CS still favoring Unica.
Yeah, it's I want to see them be a bit more proactive. You know, I feel like they've started off well. They've been invading. They've been trying to set up. They're getting the Herald. They're doing things like that. They're definitely starting to push those buttons, but they need to really convert. You know, I talked about this last time I got to cast them, and it was they had a lot of hesitation. You know, and I feel it really killed their momentum. It really killed their chance of winning a game, and they need to just go for it. You know, they need to just make the plays and realize, okay, look, we need to win before 25 minutes. Otherwise, they're just going to outscale us.
Okay, Unica, he's back bot again. Is this going to be it, J-Real? It's so heavily warded, though, and once not going to spot Unica there with the blast cone, with the Scryers.
Oh, once they're going to be knocked up, he's going to have to use the onslaught shadows to get away from that, and the Herald will charge 2 plates, going to be going over to V3, and they rotate over to the Dragon.
It's action, J-Real. We have action. It's no kills, but they did drop Herald, and V3 are going to be able to pick up their first dragon of the game as well here. So good on them. Forcing out the onslaught of shadows is massive too, because now you know that, hey, in the next fight, we have Cataclysm available, and Hecarim, who's running Ghost, doesn't have a way out.
Yeah, in the next fight, which is also going to be our first fight. You know, we are still 0-0. So I don't know about next, maybe when we get the first fight, the primary. But once just charging around the map, agreed, no ultimate for the Hecarim is going to be a little bit detrimental, but there are no objectives on the map at the moment. There is no Herald, there is no Dragon to fight for, so maybe they can kind of get away with not having the ultimate at the moment. There's going to be no forced fights, 2 minutes until Herald is up, and you'll definitely have the ulti by then.
Geez, J-Real, I know that LJL has been kind of slow, but I was hoping, you know, last week we got some quicker games. Of course, V3 setting a new record, and Rascal Jesters have been picking up their game time. Sengoku is generally an early game team, so watching them play this slow here, I guess it's the LJL, and we should have expected it, but gotta be honest, a little bit disappointed.
I'm feeling like this is like the slow momentum into the quick finish. You know, it's kind of like that arc where it's like, okay, we're going to have slow. I think when we get to 20 minutes, I think it's all kicking off, and it's going to end very, very rapidly.
Sounds like the plot to every Dragon Ball fight ever, right? how many episodes will they be charging up here? Come on, that's an old anime. Give us some, what is it, My Hero Academia? Something a little bit fast-paced here.
Well,
we are seeing Hetzel roam up? Maybe?
To be fair, as long as they're not doing Attack on Titan, I'm happy, because like that would mean that they're doing basically not League of Legends things for half the time, and then they have like one moment where they actually decide to play League of Legends. So either way, I'm happy with the slow-paced game if they're making proactive plays. And I will say one thing that is nice to see from V3 is they're actually setting themselves up nicely. They just need to make the plays once they've got the setup.
Okay, I mean, I have a confession to make. I haven't watched Attack on Titan, so I actually don't know. Like, I know the plot of it, but I don't know the pacing of it. So is it really slow-paced?
It's very sporadic, is what I'll say. It'll be like super fast, and then they'll just, in the middle of the fast-paced moments, they'll just go on a tangent that is unnecessary, you know, and not, like, they'll be like, oh, we have to do this in this short amount of time, but then they'll have episodes where they're just kind of having a chat, and it's like, yeah, I don't know about this, Chief, you know, like, things are a little bit wrong. But back onto the League of Legends, and less onto the Attack on Titan, it's, It's been pretty consistent pacing, at least. You know, consistency is key in a lot of guides, and both teams have been consistent. Unica consistently taking away these buffs as well. So I'm not gonna lie, once is getting out jungled.
Yeah, on the Hecarim, no less here. Definitely getting out power farmed here. But Jerio, consistency is okay when it's consistently action happening or consistently moves being made. Whereas right now, it's consistently nothing. And even here, it just pull the trigger. You have the collapse. Yu-Gi-Oh! Coming down has Realm Warp.
Oh, it's going to get the knock-up onto NC. Maybe we see the fight here. Going to take them pretty low. That's the first kill. Gets the knock-up onto Honey as well. Maybe they find a second as the Rice going to be doing big damage. Picks it up once now, trying to run away, but going to get knocked up. Another play. It's big-time V3. Triple kill for one loss. Absolutely huge. We wanted action. We finally got it. Maybe they take the spot lane tower as well.
Hell yeah, Jerio, and look at where all 3 kills went. It went onto dress code, onto this Kai'Sa, who is going to be the big assassination threat later on in the game. And as we watch the replay here, it's a vision difference, right? It's information inequality that unfortunately Sengoku didn't realize that people were coming down, and they should have, right? Yu-Gi-Oh! Leaving the lane should have signaled that, hey, he's probably going to be there. There is Realm Warp, and he did come from mid lane. And because of that numbers advantage here, they're able to pick up 2 easy kills, and that beautiful, just the edge of it, of that flag and drag, that once was just a bonus there.
You know what? They need to make a champion that does tech stuff, and their ult has to be called information inequality. I love that. That was a great saying. That was a bar. You know, that was lit. But no, I agree. Unica hitting a beautiful flag and drag there. I will say great dodge from once there on the Cataclysm, able to get the onslaught shadows through. But they just had it in spades. And we've talked about how good they are early games. They also rotated Yu-Gi-Oh! Down. We talked about how they had the vision, and they just used all the pieces, put them together, and boom, Millennium Puzzle.
Yeah, they just dragged Sengoku right into the Shadow Realm there. Now, the question is, you did it once. Can you do it again, right? And, well, you did it 2 once, but can you do it to everyone else? Because Jet right now is going to be an issue as he skills up already 300 stacks on that mana immune here. Once it hits 360, that's when he's really going to be able to start contesting Yu-Gi-Oh! Here. And Honey, for all that, yeah, you killed Honey. Honey is still ahead of the curve from Dress Code, at least in farm. Has the Kraken Slayer versus Dress Code, who is still building that mana immune. 174 stacks. Contrast that to Jet's 306.
Yeah, it is a little bit behind the curve, but maybe the gold, maybe the kills, maybe the setup around this Drake could push them even further in the lead. Right now, sitting about 1.3k gold ahead. Can they make use of it? But right now, Jet, with the package, is looking pretty scary, and it is looking like Sengoku is going to take this dragon for free.
Yeah, and both sides actually rotated their top laners down. And something we didn't touch on was the fact that Washidai and Paz, neither of them are running teleport here, so they had to walk down. And I feel like for the side of V3, if you're not going to contest it, then just leave Washidai topside, right? He could have potentially taken that top turret, but as it stands now, mid lane's getting sieged up. I think Paz should be able to go back topside to defend the turret in time, or are they going for Herald instead?
Well, I'm not really sure. It looks like they're kind of going for the Gnar first. They're pushing him away from the tower. Maybe they're going to go for the Herald as well. Do V3 contest this? Do they get another smite steal?
Maybe. They ended up walking in there right now, and Sengoku have just given up, ceded all control in that area. Keep in mind, no summoners were expended for that dragon fight. So it's just kind of handshake. Sengoku saying, okay, we'll take dragon. We'll give you Herald maybe once.
We're not sure. Maybe once is looking for that steal, you know. Obviously a bit jaded. They lost the first one. Maybe it's like, you know what, Unica, I'm taking this one this time. Unica says no, though. He's going to be able to pick that one up. But on the side, the Hotel getting caught out there. A lot of damage, and he's going to be taken down. I'm not really sure how that auto landed, but it did. And it's going to be over to Paz.
That was just Gale Force from Paz, the projectile there. Just barely taking out. Oh, Unica, no!
Unica!
Okay.
You knew they were there. I don't know why you're walking through your junglers. Paz, maybe going to be caught in the Cataclysm now. Has to be a little bit careful, but does have Undying Rage. Is going to be able to stay alive, Trinity things. The Jinx going to pick up another kill, and V3. They looked good in the early game, but they're starting to look a little bit sloppy themselves.
So many random things there, J-Real. So let's start with the Dragon and Herald takes there. One thing that's really been defining this particular game is the vision or lack thereof, right? Sengoku didn't have vision at Herald. They don't know how low it is. So once is struggling to get in there, and he's worried that the moment he shows up, everybody's in that bush, they're going to jump and kill him. So they don't take the Herald. But then the rest of that fight, you saw what happened. The moment Hetal gets picked, Sengoku started pushing forward, and Unica got caught because he was walking through his jungle with no vision. He did not know Sengoku were in there and wasn't expecting it, gets punished for it. And then the Cataclysm onto Paz had me very confused as well, because you got to remember that Cataclysm, sure, it's great for locking people in, but if you don't have flag and drag to get out, you're stuck in there with them. And right now, Paz is more than happy to 1v1 anybody in the game in an enclosed area. And Undying Rage guarantees that, hey, by the time your Cataclysm drops, he's still going to be alive.
It is indeed. And talking about alive, it might not be the same state for NT as he is getting charged down, but there is the Hecarim going to come through with a big fear onto the backline of V3, and once really putting the stoppers onto their aggression, as Unica going to be able to get away. Rocket going to land onto the back of Yuzhou, but not going to cause any big problems. But once again, it's V3 making a play and it just not going their way. They're not finding the results that they need to get. And I feel like the game is slowly but surely shifting back into Sengoku's favor after V3 had that glowing moment where it looked a little bit good for them.
Hey, Shiro, you said 25 minutes. We're getting close to that. We're already at 21 here. And Jet is hitting like a truck, but V3 finally trying to pull the trigger. I'm a little bit worried for this particular force play here. They could get collapsed on, but for now, Jet is pushing topside. No vision on Paz for V3.
One turret already down. They're going to get the second charge. Paz in the brush. They're going to be causing big problems for Yu-Gi-Oh, but he's going to be slammed against the wall there. That's a lot of CC holding him back, but Undying Rage will keep him alive. He's going to be able to walk away, and tier 2 tower mid will stay alive as well. Pretty low, though, so maybe they can return and take that one.
Yeah, and Jet answering back topside. They traded turret for turret, and granted, mid lane turret's better, but for Sengoku, they're not in a rush. They're just trying to funnel gold into Jet here. And hey, I saw that poke landing on Unica right now, and Unica is probably the tankiest member of V3 unless Washidai is in Mega Nar form. So if he can do that to Unica, sieges aren't going to work anymore once Jet rejoins the rest of the team. And V3, their window is closing fast. Dragon coming up in about 45 seconds. And I feel like that's going to be their last big window, if you will. They've got a huge wombo combo, a huge team fight composition. They need to conclusively win that next big team fight in the next 5 minutes here to extend their timer, or else risk having Sengoku just outscale in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, I think they risk it for a biscuit. You know, it's a sentiment of you just go for it, you look for the play. Oh, not like that though. Unica going to be caught out, pushed away from the flag and drag. Cataclysm, he's going to have to flash away, but he's going to be able to get out. One more rocket. Oh, they're both going to miss, and a good heal there will keep him alive. But woo, almost get. Oh, dress code taking big damage there from the missile barrage, and Jet looking scary, man. Looking scary, and that dragon is pretty much secured for Sengoku. V3 not finding their way in.
Yeah, but for V3, okay. So we have to keep in mind, V3 just lost the dragon, which is huge and unfortunate for them because they really do need to be finding a fight to extend things. But it feels good for them because Unica didn't die. And considering how close it was, Washide almost mega once, probably doesn't want to dive this year. Yeah, Unica should have died by all rights. But the individual mechanics is there from V3. This is why we didn't expect them to go 0-21, but here we are.
Yeah, we didn't expect it. It's not confirmed yet. They still have this game and the next game, but this game does feel a little bit difficult as the time is still ticking over. Gold pretty much dead even, but this dragon lead one away from Ocean Soul now. Sengoku are starting to stack up their ways to win, and I'm a little bit sad that dress code hasn't gone for a full AP build. Maybe he could still pivot into it, but I feel like matching the poke of Corky's rockets would be pretty awesome.
True. And I mean, you do have the Nashor's Tooth, and Manamune is still standard even with the AP build here. So could definitely flex into that bot side, though. Washidai and Paz going at it. And one thing I kind of didn't mention was Washidai did still build the Hullbreaker. We are in patch 12.5. Hullbreaker did get nerfed for range champions, so Washidai will actually not get the benefit whenever he's in mini Nar form. But when he's mega, my goodness, does he hurt.
Yeah, and he's definitely hitting pretty hard onto Paz, causing some problems, and should be able to push this tower, which maybe opens up V3 to look for the vision around Baron, start to set up and also deny Sengoku the chance of taking it. They are having to recall as well on the map. So props to Washidai, causing problems, causing pressure around the map, as we are going to see Honey now potentially going to be caught out. Rumble coming in, flash forward, Yu-Gi-Oh just not out in range. Here we go with the killer instinct, but there's the fear. Dress Code going to be able to find the kill, but it is going to be 1-for-1. ADC's traded. I feel like maybe a little bit more work for V3.
Yeah, I think V3 are going to be happy with those trades. I'm not sure if they should be, though, because you've traded one threat for another and you actually have less threats on your team. Hey, but you do whatever works here. Paz coming in for Washidai, and Washidai is mega right now, so he is super tanky. Paz has to walk away, and while we're watching that mid lane action here, J-Real, Washidai almost took down that inner bot side turret. So V3, despite the fact that they're losing out on dragons, have actually been answering very well with the turrets here, and ultimately it's turrets, it's structures that win you the game of League of Legends.
Is indeed. Once you break the Nexus, you get 50 gold. That's the prize that everyone is going for, really, which I still think is one of the craziest facts. You know, I don't really know why they ever put that one in, but we do get a nice little replay of exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of brute force at this point, right? And this is what we wanted to see 10 minutes ago. Literally just everybody burning spells to get in there, and Dress Code kind of overdives, actually expends the flash to confirm the kill. But when you've thrown that much resources into it, yes, it's partially a sunk cost fallacy, but at the same time, you've just got to make good on it, right? If you try and back off, Dress Code probably dies and it's not worth it. This way, at least, yeah, you burnt your flash, but you found a kill and you got gold on this Kai'Sa, who probably is going to be sort of your chance to win the game to come back, especially when we're looking at that AP Kai'Sa, which does need usually that 3-item spike or maybe even 4 items to really start to come online.
Yeah, and I was watching a game the other day. We had an AP Kai'Sa in the game. Their late game build, they were doing 1,200 damage every W. So voids seekers are real. You know, it's a real fear. You have to be careful of it, but they also have to go AP. You know, if Dress Code does go AP, I'd be a lot happier. I think that it gives them a little bit more late game potential, but also it really threatens that Corki. You know, Corki wants to step up, try and poke you with those rockets. You can't do that if you're getting hit from across the map.
Well, I think Dress Code is going that way. Lost Chapter picked up here, so likely the Ludens to come through. And you say 1,200 damage, but when I'm looking right now, you know, at Jet's health, he's only got 1,700. So 2 Void Seekers would be all it takes to kill Jet. Honey's probably got even less health here, so should be fun if you can reach that stage. And hey, if it is that AP Kai'Sa build, we said that the scaling from Sengoku is strong, but that sort of poke kind of nullifies all the sort of scaling that comes through, because if you're getting hit by that poke before a fight starts, then it's often going to be a 5v4 to kick things off.
And an interesting position there from Washida, able to sneak in, gets a little bit of damage onto Paz, but nothing to really write home about. He's going to go Mega just before this Dragon as well. 32 seconds, so maybe could regain rage before the Dragon fight, as we are going to see a bit of pressure onto this mid-tier 2. They are looking to claim this, and they will be able to pick this one up pretty easily, as they do slam it straight onto the Tryndamere. Now Undying Rage going to be used by Paz, but will be able to spin to win to get away, as Unica now running away from the Hecarim, able to get enough distance.
And Sengoku have to be careful about picking a fight here. Tryndamere with his out down is half the champion that he otherwise would be. The threat is not there to dive the back line, and V3, they're in the better position to look for this Dragon here. Sengoku trying to threaten Baron in exchange so that V3 can't comfortably go for Dragon.
They are calling their bluff. They're going to go aggressive with this. Cataclysm there locks in at the town. Kane for good flashes away, but they already taken down the Jarvan, and it's a 1-for-1 so far. Both junglers have been removed from the game. Honey, good sidestep on the Void Seeker is going to be able to stay very healthy in that one. And V3 losing their jungler, so does Sengoku, but the health bars on Sengoku's side are a little bit healthier than V3's. It's going to be a risky one around the strike.
Yeah, and it's worth noting as well that that should have been more heavily V3 favored after all, because Paz didn't have the ultimate. They had a numbers advantage, and they kind of limped away. Now TP in from Yu-Gi-Oh behind, they don't know.
They don't know, but they're going to be able to take this Dragon very quickly. That's going to be Ocean Soul over to Sengoku, and no challenge from V3 again. The hesitation playing a big part, as Yu-Gi-Oh now jumping into the pit a little bit late, though. Is going to be taking a bit of damage, but still quite tanky, but trying to get away. Gets slowed by the zap, and now Tryndamere in range goes golden, but he's not going to be enjoying when he comes out of that stasis. Immediately removed from the game, and question marks over the Rise play there.
If I was Yuji, I'd be question marking the rest of the team. Like, team, we called for this TP behind enemy lines. They all abandoned him. V3 just left him to die. And I don't know why you do that here. League is one of those games where it's better that you die together, you make a dumb play together, than you try and be smart on your own, because it just doesn't work. And now Sengoku have a numbers advantage. There's no TP for Yu-Gi-Oh! They're starting up this Baron, poke landing from dress code.
Void Seekers are starting to hurt quite a bit. 4,000 on the Baron, but they're going to turn to fight first. In goes once, but he gets locked in the Cataclysm, but already taking down the Gnar, and they're just spinning to win forwards. Paz diving onto Unico. They should be able to pick up this kill very easily. As Satel trying to run away, does jump out, but gets taken down by the rocket, and Dresscode just has to watch his whole team die. They're just going to turn it back onto the Baron, and Sengoku really claiming a stronghold in this game.
And I'm just going to say, man, if they had Yu-Gi-Oh there, maybe they could have turned that fight. It was looking good initially, but yeah, with no Yu-Gi-Oh, no go, and no TP, so Yu-Gi-Oh can't get there. They're just going to walk away, and it's 30 minutes, J-Real. So V3 have held out better than the last 2 times they faced Sengoku, but it's starting to hit the point where it feels like, okay, Sengoku have, crossed all their T's, dotted all their I's here. We get the replay on this, and the poke is actually really good. The problem is just that Baron is just way too low at this point. So V3 have to force the fight. And Washide buys a surprising amount of time here, even though that Hull Breaker is not working, but it's just not enough. You need to poke them down, and you can see that dress code right now is not about the sustained damage. It's all about the poke. Your sustained damage was Yu-Gi-Oh! You left him to die. You can't fight when he's dead.
I do agree, and sometimes it's that question of, do you just let the Baron go? Do you try and fight the Baron? I feel like in that case, it probably would have just been better to let them have the Baron, regroup, and then try and take them all off of them at one go. But we'll see what happens now, as Washide might be caught out here. Once is charging forward, not going to be able to get into range just yet, and a blast cone will get them to safety. But Jet dropping missiles, man. A lot of damage coming out from this Corki.
Oh, wow. Package used defensively there. I think it was about to expire as well.
And going on to the tier 2, they are looking to pick this one up. The cannon minion just absolutely obliterating the mid tower. Now looking for the tier 3 as well. They're going to keep this one pushing, but it just feels so bad for V3, man. Sengoku just have all of the power. They have the soul. They have the Baron buff as well. It's just a time bomb. When we said 25 minutes was the marker, that's what Blitzcrank said. As the game goes longer, the favor goes more and more to Sengoku.
Yeah, and Patch just split pushing this entire time, right? V3 need to pull the triggers somewhere here. If you're being dragged around, you're gonna lose. Look at dress code getting chunked here, and the difference is that Soul. Ocean Soul is making sure that Sengoku can push the siege. Their poke sticks, whereas V3's poke doesn't.
Patel taking so much damage off of one rocket there, and Washi die in a bit of trouble. Yu-Gi-Oh! Going to be able to flash away from the fear, but the damage from Jet is huge. Still taking out big chunks of their health bar, as now they're looking for that in him. Oh, and the rocket picks up the kill. Oh my days, the Jinx is online and ready to fight. Unico going to be diving forward, gets a big cataclysm, but the damage is just too much. Honey is absolutely golden and just smurfing on them right now, but going to die to the fountain. Fountain MVP right now, stopping the Jinx from picking up more kills, but it's going to be the tier 2s going down. The Baron buff minions are just way too powerful. As Jet going to drop a little bit more damage onto these 2 left, but the Nexus will fall, and that will be all for this game.
J-Real, can I just highlight that once again, V3 waited for Yu-Gi-Oh! To die before they pulled that final trigger? Like,